Hi guys, thanks for using iGyro. Now today we're just going to be talking about an integration between iGyro and Xero, and iGyro recommends the use of Xero. It integrates very nicely and can help you for your accounting. So today we're going to go through a quick start guide. So if you're fresh to Gyro, you've got a Xero account or you've got a fresh Xero account, this is a great way to get started very quickly. And one of the things that will integrate from Gyro to Xero is invoices or accounts payable, but also business contacts. So if we have a look at our business contacts here, we can see we've got one business contact. This is created by default when you first create your first iGyro login. So we'll try and populate this automatically from our Xero contacts. Alright, so to do that, we'll first go into the admin menu and go to Xero. And we've got these Xero settings here just to have a look through, but the first thing for us to do is connect to your Xero account. So I'll click on that button. And if you're not already logged into Xero, it will prompt you for your username and password for Xero, and you can go through and connect that. I've already put those details in, so it's asking me straight away for which organization I'd like to connect. So be careful here, you may have a list of lots of organizations depending on how many Xero accounts you have. In my case, I've got 2. And I'll use a demo company for today's exercise. Hit allow access. Okay, that's taken us back to iGyro admin screen here. You can see here that we're connected to Xero demo company. Double check this and make sure you've got that right, because the last thing we want to do is to connect your iGyro account to a business that's unrelated. If you've got that wrong, click disconnect and reconnect again to the right one. Let's take a look at the settings before we do anything else. And the sync start date is mostly around your accounts payable. So if you've already been using Gyro for a period of time and you've got accounts payable invoices, you can choose from what date you'd like to push those in. If this is a fresh Gyro account, this sync start date doesn't have much bearing. Now, iGyro uses job tracking and cost center tracking, and this is to help you with reporting and associating costs with particular jobs. If you're already using Xero and you're already using these tracking categories, you may need to contact support and work out your best way forward, because Xero has a limitation in that you can only have 2 tracking categories. So today we've got a fresh Gyro and a fresh Xero. We'll just tick both of those and we can use those as the default options. Any changes here, click on save. The iGyro companies, this is just a list of companies that already exist in your Gyro business contacts. So as we saw before, we've only got one. That one is listed. Again, if this was an older database, we've been using it for some time, you may have many companies listed here. And if you've also got a existing Xero company as well, you'll need to come into here, click on this match company with Xero contacts option, and that will associate your iGyro companies with your Xero contacts based on the ABN number. So if you have ABN numbers correct in Gyro, ABN numbers correct in Xero, this screen will allow you to map those companies together. For fresh installations, you won't need to worry about this. Xero contacts, so we're using the demo company, which is pre-populated with data. So all of these contacts are suppliers that are already in the Xero interface. When we sync, they're going to come into our business contacts, all automatically. And lastly, for our settings, we've got our iGyro cost centers here. And these will be pushed through to the tracking category for cost centers that we set up earlier in settings. And we will also map a Xero account to that. So I've only got 2 cost centers set up in this database. You can create an elaborate set of cost centers to help allocate your costs. In this case, we've got rainwater tank and pump supply, rainwater tank and pump labor. And this is a best practice for most builders where they'd like to split out their supply costs and their labor costs. So in Xero, we have a cost of goods sold account. Okay, but we don't actually have one for labor at this stage, so I'll shoot back into Xero. We'll go to accounting, chart of accounts. Alright, so we can see our cost of goods GL account here. We'll create a new one. Okay, we'll create that as 311. Cost of goods labor, and we'll save that. Okay, now if we come back into here, that won't be available by default. So we've still only got the original cost of goods sold. Let's just click on that button again. That'll refresh the page. With any luck, we've got our labor option here as well. So you may like to rename that one to cost of goods sold supply, and then we've got our labor option here as well. All right, let's save that. Now with all our settings set up there, we'll go back to the Xero tab. This is the process to start off your sync for day-to-day activities. So if you're working in accounts payable, you would also come into admin Xero and start the sync as well. So let's click on start sync. Okay, that will queue for a little while. You can go away and do other things. So just come back in a few minutes time and hopefully that's started for us. So we come back into here, you can have a look at the history, you can view the log. So we'll usually only take a few minutes to get started. So you can refresh this page just to see where it's up to. Once that's running, we can come back and view the log, and you can see all the transactions that are occurring through this synchronization process. Alright, because this was an existing Xero, being a demo company, there's a lot of journal entries in there, so you may see a lot of transaction lines here. And you can see that the very last thing is a Xero sync complete. So if we go back to Xero, we'll see we've got this success option here, or success flag here. Now every time we'd like to do a sync, you just come in and do the start sync button, but now we should be able to go into business contacts, and we can see all of those companies have been brought into here. Now let's also take a look back into Xero, and we'll go back to accounting, advanced, tracking categories. You can see here that we've added a job number tracking category, and we already had a region category here, a tracking category. So as I was explaining before, Xero has a limitation in that you can only have 2 tracking categories. So if you're in this boat where if you're already using a tracking category, job number is the first one that will come through, but we are missing cost center, which is very nice to have for our accounting and reporting points of view. So in this case, region is not really important to me, so I'm going to remove that. Okay, so we'll delete that tracking category. So now we've just got job number, and we should be able to start another sync and then see if the cost center comes through. So let's go back to admin, Xero, start sync. Okay, again, it'll just take a little bit to get started, it'll queue for us. Okay, that was quick, so that's already gone through and completed the sync. Alright, we're all done. Now let's take another quick look back at Xero. Let's refresh this screen. And now we've got job number and the cost center tracking category. So it looks like our 2 categories have come through. And job numbers will just come through when they're required for the accounts payable module. Alright, that concludes our training session for this one. So this is a quick start guide to get iGyro and Xero synchronizing, and a great way to get started and bring in your business contacts.